How do you make money for nothing? The answer could be hiding in the 20 million tonnes of household waste we throw out every year.
Just before you throw it away, would it be possible to have a quick look at it?
That's why entrepreneur Sarah Moore wants to get her hands on things before they hit the skip.
I am a passionate buyer, user and renovator of second-hand stuff, and I've turned that passion into a money-making business. I turn old into new and I sell it for a profit.
Sarah's ready to sift through as many boots and bin bags as she needs to.
That's vintage gold, isn't it? It's really exciting.
In her search for tip treasure.
I love it.
And with some of the country's elite designers and makers,
what are we going to do with that?
Oh no!
she can transform her finds into desirable,
Amazing.
beautiful, valuable,
Cha-ching.
and hopefully saleable items.
That's £80 profit.
If Sarah is successful, then she can hand the profits back to the very people who had no idea there was cash to be made from their trash.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's unbelievable.
Sarah is at the Whitley Community Recycling Centre in Surrey, where the people of Whitley and the surrounding area bring a treasure trove of unloved and unwanted items destined for landfill.
It's so exciting. People are flooding in here all day long, and I'm going to turn their old into gold, their trash into cash, and make some money for nothing.
Sarah's here looking for 3 items with the potential to be turned into something desirable again. And Sarah has spotted Dion and Trevor removing something very interesting from the back of their car.
Sorry, just before you throw that away, sorry to bother you. I like your jerry can.
It's yours.
Really? No, tell me about it. So where's it from and how long have you had it and why are you chucking it away?
I've had it for 8 years and it's got a hole in the bottom.
Oh, that says it all. I know why you're chucking it away now.
I'm throwing it away to be recycled.
Do you know something? We're trying to take stuff from people and make things out of it that we think might give things a new lease of life. There's something about that that's so classic. It would be really cool to see if we can make something out of it.
What could you make out of that?
I don't know. But I'll have a think about it. What am I going to make out of that? It could be turned into lighting. Maybe we could get some really cool legs on it and just make it into a little occasional table, something like that.
You could do, if you want to.
Well, if I did, and I did manage to make something, could I come and show you what I've done or keep in touch to...
Of course you can.
Is it? That would be fab. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Occasional table, lighting. I'm sure Trevor and Dion can't wait to see how this one turns out.
I don't hold my breath, if I'm really honest, but who knows?
I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I just love its styling. I love the fact that when it cleans up, I'm going to get left with something really shiny and cool. I've got to think of something fabulous that this can be made into.
So, with Trevor and Dion's old petrol cans safe from the dump, all we need now is someone to fuel those ideas. And Sarah knows just the person.
Headphones.
Rob Shear has years of experience bending, shaping, grinding and welding metal.
Years of libraries of mental libraries of experience, know-how, tips of the trade, so to speak.
Graduating from art school, his work is now regularly in demand by architects and artists. Rob has no idea what Sarah's going to bring along today, but he definitely knows what he'd like.
An old-fashioned copper hot water boiler, like a really big one, about 5 foot by 500. You know, nice and substantial, like a torpedo, a copper torpedo. That's what I want.
Hopefully Rob will be able to redirect that passion for plumbing towards Sarah's punctured petrol can. At the dump, Sarah's picturing her next opportunity.
What do you reckon? How am I looking? Is it?
I think the point is, Sarah, you don't appear to be looking, and the search is still on for 2 more items.
I've just seen a table in the back of this guy's car and I'm hoping he might be dropping it off and he might be able to share it with me. Hi there. I'm really sorry to be loitering outside the
That's
back
okay.
of your car. I was just looking at your table and wondering if that's something you're dropping off today as well, or...
I am, yeah. My family's got increasingly bigger.
Right.
It's too small. So we've had it for 20 odd years. But sadly, it's not got nowhere for it to go anymore. And with 6 of us in the family, it's just too small.
It's got a lovely scrub top to it,
I know.
though, hasn't it? It's
Yeah,
got
I know.
loads of appeal to it.
Yeah.
Is it something that I could take away and try and remake something?
I'd be delighted, because I'd hate for it to go to waste.
This table really is on its last legs, but the top is fantastic. This is really cool. They're really solid boards, and they've got that patina of age to them that you just can't recreate.
That's a second item found that's now destined for a new beginning. Sarah won't be tackling this tatty table alone. She has someone in mind who specialises in working wonders with other people's waste. Rupert Blanchard is a sought-after furniture designer based in Margate.
I love making things that appear really clean and simple, but the cleaner and simpler they get, the more complicated they are to make. Basically, other people's waste, I find some kind of beauty in it and spend a lot of time and give rubbish a lot of attention to try and bring it back into use. Anything that you might find in a skip, basically, I'm happy to work with it.
He may well love working with rubbish, but Rupert's yet to clap eyes on Sarah's latest find. Of course, it's important to remember that not all that glitters is gold.
Don't you love the dump?
Probably not as much as you, Sarah. With one item left to find, Sarah spotted Janet and her sister Julie, who are helping their mother move by clearing out items which won't make it to her new home.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm loving the look of the stuff in the back of your truck. I'm looking for stuff that maybe we can give another life to or reuse in some way. It would be great to get this out and have a look and then maybe see what other stuff you have.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I love a carpet sweeper, look at that. Isn't that great?
Sarah's already saved some of Janet's stuff before, but she's straight back in there for round 2. And for once, she's spoilt for choice.
Don't know what to pick first. I'm quite interested in the chair because I know things like this recovered or perhaps really good to go into bedrooms and you know, they're usable pieces of furniture because they're quite small.
It was given to my mum by a friend of hers, so she wanted something in her hall. And the cat, as you can see, sat on it most of the time.
I'd love to have a go at giving this a new lease of life. That would be fab.
It'd be nice to see it revamped.
It's not in great shape at the moment. It's covered in cat hair. It's got lovely brown velour on it. So at the moment, it's not looking lovely. But it's a really easy makeover, this. It's got a wooden frame. It means you can staple stuff to it and cover it, and it will look fantastic.
The chair's going to look lovely, actually. I think if that's covered in a nice tapestry sort of material, vintage material, that would look really lovely. But, you know, wait and see what she does. It'd be interesting.
So, Rob's taking care of the petrol can with a hole in it, Rupert's dealing with the old table, and Sarah's fixing up an old velour chair which the cat is missing already.
I love the things that I've found, but I hope I haven't bitten off more than I can chew and I can actually make some money out of them.
Walthamstow is not only a suburb of East London, but also the name of the first album of East 17, one of the 90s most popular boy bands. It's also where Sarah has brought her old petrol can, looking for a spark of inspiration to ignite the imagination of Rob Shear, who I'm pretty sure has never been in a boy band.
I think Sarah's coming along today. I hear she's got a few bits and bobs for me. Got no idea what they're going to be. A real mixed bag of stuff she brings. A real surprise. Sometimes good, sometimes absolute trash. And I've really got to try and make a pearl out of a swine's ear, as they say.
I think it's a silk purse, actually, Rob, and you'd be very lucky to make one of those out of that old petrol can.
I've got a little something for you.
Yeah, I thought you might. What have you got for me today?
Well, do you know, I saw this and I thought of you, and then I thought, I'm not quite sure what I can do with it. So, First of all, I thought maybe it's a table, you know, like a sofa table or something like that. And the only other thing I thought about was it's kind of the right size for carry-on luggage, like a wheelie bag.
Wheelie bag, petrol can on an aeroplane. Good idea, Sarah.
That's not going to happen, is it?
No, it's not going to happen, no.
Go on then. What would you do with it?
What we could do, maybe I could cut this out, give maybe a little bit of a graphic feel, a little graphic flame looking all the way through, seal it off, and then maybe put some kind of light feature inside.
So not candle, but plug-in light, like...
A plug-in light, yeah.
That's really cool. So something, what, for somebody's, like a man office or the garage, you know, like...
Man office.
Do you know what I mean? Like
I know,
a den.
yeah.
I think that's really good, and lighting is a great option.
It's going to appeal to the boy and the man. Man in the boy, boy in the man.
Clearly designed to appeal to a cross-section of the male population, this old rusty punctured petrol can is about to become a unique designer lamp, perfect for gracing any man office.
So what are we talking about money-wise to get that done like that?
Well, I've got to take the surface off, I've got to cut it open, I've got to make the tube which goes inside, finish it, rivet it on. I mean, it's about 250 to 300.
So we're looking at quite a high-end item here in the end, aren't we? This has got to sell for a load of money. It doesn't look great now, but I have every confidence that the next time I see it, it's going to look really fantastic. So I give you the challenge.
Always a challenge from you, Sarah. Don't worry, it's going to look lovely by the time we come back.
Rob is a genius. That light is going to look amazing. I can see it going into all sorts of different places, so I couldn't be more pleased. Brilliant.
Sarah's going to have to spend up to £300 for Rob's expertise. But with premium price tags for lighting, Sarah is still hoping to make a profit from the old petrol can. Margate is a traditional British seaside town which has recently been rejuvenated by a cultural renaissance, a part of which has been the burgeoning revival of all things retro. It's where Rupert Blanchard has his workshop.
Today I'm hoping that Sarah's going to turn up with something really rotten, really far gone, something that most people would only assign to landfill, and hopefully I can pull something out of it.
Sarah knows that if anyone can save Andrew's table, it's Rupert.
There's a really sweet story behind this table. The guy was dropping it off. He's got 4 kids, and you can see where there glitters all over it and everything, and they've just grown out of it. So they've got a new, bigger table, and this one, surplus requirements. But I was wondering if there's anything we can do to make it into something like smaller or cubey, or just not a table.
Oh, this is a hard one because it's such a nice table, but it's obviously outgrown its use and it is actually rickety. If we're working with the material as it is,
yeah,
it is a lovely worn kitchen table, so why not have it as a worn kitchen table? Maybe just becoming a bigger table.
You're talking about putting slabs of new product in here to make it into something really substantial.
You can have a split, perhaps it does pull apart, if another element comes in, something that just really brings it up to date and celebrates what it is.
It looks like Rupert is convincing Sarah to see the inner table in this dinner table.
I love that idea, and I love the fact that it was redundant because it was too small, and now we're making it into something really impressive and bringing everybody together around the table again. That will be brilliant.
However big the table becomes, Sarah will be hoping the cost stays small.
So if we're looking at some kind of insert in stone or something like that, are we looking at 400 to 500 quid, depending on the material a little bit more?
It's about 2-3 days work, depending on what we're casting or, as I say, the material. So, yeah, I think you're about right.
Brilliant. OK, that's a great place to leave this and then go forward. Hopefully come back and find something much more substantial. I love the fact that Rupert has recognised that that table has been at the centre of so many good times. And I know with his radical redesign, it's going to be surrounded by a lot more fun in the future.
With this transformation costing as much as £400, Sarah's going to have to sell the table at a premium before she sees any profit. back at Reclamation HQ deep in the Sussex countryside. Sarah is about to give that tired old brown velour chair a whole new lease of life in the hope of turning that dowdy cat seat into lots of dough. To keep costs low and profits high, Sarah has an idea which will turn her collection of old free rags into riches. Sarah's idea is to create a new patchwork material as a luxurious replacement for that old brown velour.
I'm going to cut all the offcuts and all the random bits into the same size square. I'm going to sew them in strips first and then sew the strips together to make a whole panel of fabric. So I'm going to put the fabrics with their good sides facing each other and then sew along. And then I'll do the same again and again until I get a long strip of fabric, but just using all the scraps, and that makes it cheaper. That's really pretty. And that on the back of the chair, that'll make money. I've given the chair a good old clean up because I'm going to cover it completely as it is. I've got some fire retardant calico here, which will bring it up to the right regulation, so I know that it's safe to use. I've just given the chair one quick layer in this fabric, and I think it looks much better already. Now I'm going to lay on our new panels of patchwork fabric. I want this to go all over the seat and the back. And then here, right around on this side, I'm probably going to use a piece of plain fabric. I think that's loads.
The tip of the trade is to begin at the front edge of the chair with the fabric turned back on itself. That way you can achieve a nice neat finish with the staples hidden below the fabric.
Okay, so that's a really good neat start there. Quite lucky there, I've got a line going all the way along the back. That makes it look like I almost planned it. Very well, it's fine.
With the new patchwork cover securely stapled, that old brown velour chair is already totally unrecognisable.
Looks better already, doesn't it?
In Margate, Sarah's tatty old table find is revealing to Rupert the reason why it ended up in the tip.
Okay, so this one, beautiful table, Sarah dropped off to me. Although I say beautiful table, it's had its day, it's sadly knackered. I'm just trying to work out how it's made, so I'm just going to try to separate it all.
It shouldn't be too taxing, given that it's already ridden with woodworm and barely hanging together as it is.
I can already see that this table's had a strong history. There's marks and glitter and PVA glue from the previous children playing around the table. And sadly, the family that this came from, they just outgrew it. You're often with old wood like this, when you start playing with it, you reawaken old smells, or all sorts of things. Every meal and every glass of wine that's been spilt on it. A nice old kitchen pine table always makes me hungry. Could go for a nice sandwich around this table right now. That's the last piece of the top.
Walthamstow was lucky enough to have a new fire station built only 3 years ago, but hopefully we won't be needing their services today.
This kind of goes into the risk assessment. Put that there. Headphones.
Of course, we all know there's a perfectly valid reason why we avoid all forms of ignition when dealing with petrol.
Okay, so more importantly than any of this is to get the proportions right. So what I've got to do now is cut this right. I'm only going to get one chance. So tape measure. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! The form's right across this line here. That's good. That's good. It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Now, at the moment, you may be thinking of a flame silhouette light for a man office. But Rob has had a spark of inspiration, potentially a dangerous thing when dealing with a petrol can. Having noticed a striking resemblance to the shape of a Zippo lighter, Rob is now going to cut the top from the can and have a light in the lid. Not sure what Sarah's going to think of this radical rethink.
Okay, here we go. Not looking good. You know what?
You're going back to the original plan?
I was going to put a little bit more water in it.
No, thought not. If Rob doesn't combust in the making of this new Zippo lamp, Sarah's going to be in for a big surprise when she sees the new design. It's difficult to watch.
Oh, the design's coming out of me. I mean, maybe we could actually...
Whoa! I'm sensing another change of plan.
I don't dare say this because it... But maybe... Okay, so we've got this. Instead of putting the light there, if we could get the light there, maybe a nice light there, like almost like kind of a nice flat LED type light, yeah? And then we have a little wooden bar there, so we have like a little, almost like a hip flask and maybe 2 glasses set in wood. Oh! Gotta think, Rob. Gotta think. Okay.
Back in West Sussex, oblivious to all Rob's design detours, Sarah's pressing ahead with the transformation of Janet's old brown chair.
It's not perfect, and not all the lines are completely even, but that's the beauty of patchwork. It won't be for everybody's taste, because some people like things really neat, but for me, I think that's pretty, and once I get the back panel on, I think we're nearly there. I've got a leftover piece of blanket ticking here. Front's a bit ugly, but I really like the worn bit on the back, so I'm going to use that as the panel to go over the back of the chair. Because I want to get a really neat finish all along the sides, I'm actually going to hand sew it in place, tucking it under as I go, like that, so I don't have to buy any expensive braid or anything to finish it off. And I think some little hand stitches, happy for them to be visible so it looks handmade. Just catching the chair and the fabric. And that means the whole of the chair is going to feel really tight and the fabric underneath won't be moving around. Should have painted the legs first, but at least now I can see what colour's going to look best.
That's a relief. We thought you'd just forgotten.
I think I will have to paint them.
From a chair to a table, in Margate, Rupert is thinking on his feet as his design develops.
I talked to Sarah about just cutting the table in half, pulling it apart and inserting a new material. I'd rather do it more randomly, almost as if the table had been blown up and glued back together, introducing some new materials, but they're reclaimed materials. Every time I walk past a building site or a skip on the street, I always have a look at what they've got. These came off of around the hoarding, around a development site, and I think this sort of colour might be perfect for the table. So I'm going to just take a few of these and start playing with it. I've kind of worked out what I'm going to do with this project, and it's just a case of doing it now. Assembling the many pieces of this jigsaw back together. I've got to work for quite a while to get it all nice and level, all sanded, all lovely. But I might put a thick sealant on it, maybe several coats of varnish, to get it to a really clean, glossy surface. Try to give it a little bit of an edge. Something a little bit different table.
With Carlos the cat overseeing things, this table has grown from a table too small for a growing family to a tabletop large enough to seat a party. By adding extra materials sourced without costs, which add a splash of colour, Rupert is definitely thinking big.
So, that's pretty tight there. So actually this is, having done all this, I think I'm gonna have to take this bit out, yeah? This bit's gonna come out and then we're gonna have the light bulb running in there. That's gonna sit up like so. And I've got to find some kind of catch to hold this, almost a bit sharp, hold this down when it's been moved. So there's going to be a hinge on this side. Haven't quite found the hinge yet, the hinge, or maybe I'll just make one. And then when we lift it up, like so, got to find some way of actually keeping it up there. Okay, so a few little bits and pieces are going to take the time.
It's unusual for Rob to have such freedom of design on a project. More often than not, when working for architects and artists, specific plans are provided detailing exact dimensions and specifications. So, with all this creative freedom, anything could happen.
Not quite even, so I'm going to have to start again on this.
As part of the ever-evolving plan for the old petrol can, Rob has placed an order for a hip flask, which will sit in a copper-lined recess, sunk into the wooden insert of the bottom half of the can. At the same time, in the lid, Rob has installed a light bulb of epic proportions.
What I'll do is quickly fix this in so that's fixed in. Like I say, I want to replace it with some... I might even just use roofing nails, like zinc roofing nails, which might look okay as well. I just want that kind of whack. And now it's kind of like changed a little bit.
Did you mention change? If this continues, there won't be much change from that old petrol can. With an ever-evolving design and limited resources in the shape of the original old petrol can, it's important for Rob to keep in mind that whatever we end up with still has to have a potential for profit. Back at home in the barn, Sarah is nearing the completion of the revamp of the brown velour chair.
So the only thing I'm thinking about now is these legs are looking really odd because they're still brown. I do have a few pots of paint that maybe I could try out to see what looks best. I think the blue is too harsh, and the green is a bit dull, so that one I think. I hate painting. I'm going to give it a quick and dirty coat for the first one and then a nice neat one afterwards.
Of course, if you'd remembered to paint the legs before covering the cushions, it wouldn't be a dirty job at all.
It wouldn't have been worth a £5 before. I'm going to ask over 100 quid for it now.
Over £100 for what was a tired old velour chair. But now, after plenty of patchwork, patience and painting, it's transformed into a modern piece of furniture that's sure to turn a profit. With Sarah spending just £15 on a fireproof calico material and sample pots of paint, this patchwork seat has the potential to provide plenty of profit. Back at the dump, Sarah picked up from Janet her old brown velour chair, which had definitely seen better days.
I'm quite interested in the chair. It was given to my mum by a friend of hers, and the cat, as you can see, sat on it most of the time.
Sarah took the chair home and provided it with patchwork and paint.
I'm going to give it a quick and dirty coat for the first one and then a nice neat one afterwards.
With the transformation complete, the old brown velour cat seat had become a stylish piece of modern furniture. The revamped patchwork chair was perfect to be offered for sale in Sarah's very own barn sale of recycled items. With a suggested price of £125, bids were invited, written on folded pieces of paper, with the chair being sold to the highest bidder.
Fingers crossed they might buy it.
Sarah is back in Whitley to show Janet how her old brown velour chair has been transformed into patchwork profit, and to hand over the cash.
Somebody friendly there. Hi there, hello again.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I've got a couple of pictures to show you because after we took away your brown velour chair,
Yes.
you're laughing. We did some work on it, so I thought I'd show you what we did to it.
Yeah.
We made it
wow.
vintage style.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it's really lovely.
So I made a patchwork fabric using lots of offcuts and things that I'd had from other projects.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. So
Oh, it looks really pretty, doesn't it? Isn't
yeah,
it
I think it was a good makeover. Do you think your mum would approve of it?
Yeah, I think she will, actually. She likes flowery things, so I think she would see that as a big improvement.
Excellent. So in the end, somebody actually paid £100 for it.
Good grief.
So that means I've got £85 to give to you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Oh, my
It's
pleasure.
unbelievable. Wow. Good grief, who'd have thought?
So, Sarah spent just £15 on this transformation and was able to achieve a sale price of £100, which leaves £85 profit to hand over to Janet. So, what does she have in mind for the money?
Behind Cork Castle, there's a cattery, and she always used to love to go there. And so what I was thinking is we could take the money there and we can give it to the cattery. And so, you know, I can say, you know, that's what we've done with the chair.
Is that going to be a problem? Does she know you've got rid of the chair?
Yeah, no.
Really? Oh, no.
It might get me off the hook a bit. So.
She's going to know now. I tell you, you're going to be in lots of trouble. Well, maybe, yes, maybe buy her an ice cream to sweeten her up first. Use the £5 for the ice cream and give the £80 of cat. It was really lovely to see you again.
You too. Thank you very much.
My absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See that cat over there? That's the cat that sat on the chair. All that cat hair? Is that one over there?
I think if we give the money to the cat's home, buy Mum a cream tea, that means that everybody's happy. Then the cats are happy, Mum's happy. So yeah, a good result.
With the patchwork chair producing a profit, Sarah now has high hopes for the punctured petrol can belonging to Trevor and Dion. She's back in Walthamstow, where Rob has finished fiddling with the old fuel can, which, after a number of different design directions, has come full circle and is back to being a table lamp for a man cave.
The original idea was to cut a hole all the way through it and put a light in it. After she'd gone, I had a little bit more to think about it. I quite like the shape of it, a Zippo lighter. So that's when I decided to split it. And I was originally going to have a hinge on it and have the clip. And I just preferred the idea of having a much more stationary kind of fitting, much more stationary fixing. More of a table lamp you'd have on like a little low table.
Well, I'm not quite sure what I'm here to pick up from Rob. I know that it's changed a little bit from our high-end lighting, and it's got something to do with a hip flask, which sounds very interesting.
You might want to take a big gulp from that, Sarah.
I don't know what she's going to say, actually. I hope she likes it. I really hope she likes it.
When Sarah saved this old petrol can from the dump, it was on its final journey. But now it's been refitted and repurposed with the intention of reselling for a profit.
Hello, Noel.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you? Dark in here today.
Yeah, we didn't have any money for the meter, but...
Oh no, is that my budget blown? What is that? That's really cool. Oh my word. What have you, so talk me through, what have you done to it?
Let's have a look.
Ah! Is that where you wanted the... And so turn the lights on. Let me have a proper look at the finish, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
It's really cool, isn't it? So was it a tricky process? It looks like it might have been through a few stages of development.
It went through a constant stage of development. It was, it was designed on the fly, really. So.
Rob was left with a budget of up to £300, but including the price of the hip flask, the final cost has risen to £330.
I have just some reservations about the finish for that kind of money, just to tidy it up. I mean, if I know that
I think there's a few little things you could do. And one of them was actually putting a car trim. You know, like the trims you get on the windscreen.
Yeah.
I quite like that with a reference to the car.
Okay, so
Just like a rubber trim around the edge.
I think that we'll definitely just have to make sure that that is tidied up, if that's all right. I think that. Give me a shout, and I'll get it picked up when that's finished up. But for taking on the challenge. Well done, Rob.
I love Rob's imagination. That looks really quirky and it's an interesting piece, but I do have my reservations about the finish. And I hope he doesn't mind me asking him just to push it a little further, because with something like that, the devil's in the detail.
I think Sarah liked it. I think she was pleasantly pleased. Pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly pleased. Pleasantly surprised.
Rob finished his petrol can creation for £330, so all that remains now is for Rob to smooth out those rough edges and for Sarah to find it a new home. Back at the tip, Sarah spotted the potential of Dion and Trevor's petrol can.
I like your jerry can.
It's yours. I've had it for 8 years and it's got a hole in the bottom.
Sarah's potential ideas were met with a certain cynicism.
I don't hold my breath, if I'm really honest.
With the help of Rob, that old punctured petrol can has now, after a few changes of plan, become a Zippo-style table lamp. Sarah's returned to Whitley to show Dion and Trevor what has become of their old petrol can.
Hi there. Hello, Tara, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Hello. How are you?
All right, thank you.
Nice to see you again. I've got a few bits here to show you about your jerry can.
All right.
No. Come on out, let me show you. So that's what it ended up like. This has got a fantastic, really bright light inside it, and he's cut it in half and opened it up, so it was sort of like a Zippo lighter. What do you reckon?
Well, very different. A lot of work got into it.
It's not something I'd have indoors.
Normally at this point I would say, great, it went really well, I've got fantastic news, I've got money to hand over to you, but I haven't managed to sell this yet. Some things you sort of think maybe they should have carried on at the tip, but we've had quite a lot of fun with this. And yeah, I'm sorry not to be handing over hundreds of pounds for a high-end piece of lighting, but...
We've got some more rubbish if you like it. I mean, recyclable bits.
So, despite all Rob's hard work, the search continues to find his light a new home. With costs of £330 spent and no income generated, this could be a potential loss for Sarah of £330.
We weren't sure quite what she was going to do in the first place. We were stumped at that one, and I think it's been a bit of a struggle for them to come up with a design, but they have, so good luck with that.
Well, I think Trevor and Dion were really good sports because there was no money for nothing to hand over, but we've had a good laugh and quite a lot of fun with that jerry can.
Back in Margate, Rupert has managed to complete the jigsaw puzzle that was this new table, but he's not sure what Sarah will think of his radically different approach to what was discussed.
It was a bit of a battle with this table, and I've made it into something new, and hopefully she's going to like it and find a suitable home for it.
Last time I was here, I dropped Rupert off a real challenge, a table on its last legs. I mean, like hardly attached to its last legs, in a really bad state. So I can't wait to see what he's managed to do with it. Hiya.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, Sarah. How you doing?
Yeah, really well, really well. How about you?
I'm okay. I'm just about ready for you.
Really? Has it been tense?
It's always tense, but it's done somehow.
That is amazing. Is it? Can I touch it?
You can. It's not actually wet. It's high gloss.
It looks like sort of nail varnish or like something's poured on it.
It's really thick. I wanted it to look like a toffee apple.
That's what it is. It really does, doesn't it? It's beautiful.
So
it's huge.
It is rather big. I know originally I said maybe I'd just cut it in half and cast a new bit in the middle. But when I looked into that, the table was so rotten and it would have cost so much over the budget to cast a nice piece. So I decided I'll work with exactly what I've been given, make something new.
It is
something old.
Absolutely amazing.
The red sections are actually reclaimed wood. So the budget hasn't changed at all. I've perhaps spent another £3 on it.
Really?
That's it. So it's ready to go and have a new life and hopefully live for some more years.
I think you've just absolutely nailed it. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. It looks fantastic, glossy, beautiful, and I'm going to go all out to try and get that back into the heart of somebody's home.
I'm really pleased that she liked it. I just hope she can find a suitable new home for it now.
The final cost of Rupert's work on the table has come to £400. Sarah's going to need to convince any potential buyer that this is the perfect family table if she's to make any profit at all. When Sarah first met Andrew, he was throwing out a rickety kitchen table his family had outgrown.
So we've had it for 20 odd years, but sadly, we've got nowhere for it to go anymore.
He was pleased when Sarah took an interest.
Is it something I could take away and try and remake something?
I'd be delighted, because I'd hate for it to go to waste.
And now, with some reclaimed wood and a tin of varnish, Rupert has served up a large and strikingly beautiful family dining table. Sarah invited Martin, one of the country's leading retro furniture dealers, to take a look at Rupert's transformation.
Whoever's done this is a very creative guy, and it's good.
And he loved it so much, he snapped it up for his shop, the Old Cinema. Sarah has returned to Whitley to show Andrew and his family what has become of their kitchen table and to hand over any profit.
Hi there. Hi, Andrew, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi there. Oh, hello, girls. Hi there. This is the big family you were talking about.
Yes.
Some of them.
Most of them.
There are four, aren't there?
Yeah, there's my son's hiding away somewhere.
I don't know if you remember what your dad dropped off at the tip. Do you know what we're here to? The table. Yeah. And did you all grow up with that table? Do you remember it being in your house?
Yeah, it's a old kitchen table.
Do you know what we did with it? We made it into a table. I've got some pictures. This is how your table ended up.
Oh, wow.
It's had a
That's
whole
amazing.
new lease of life. Your table went to the most amazing designer called Rupert Blanchard. So he spliced every single bit of your table together with some new material to make it into a table for 10.
Wow, that's incredible.
Somebody has already bought it.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. Somebody who wanted a big table paid 750 quid for it.
Wow.
So we spent £400 with Rupert, which means that I have got 350 quid to give to you guys.
Really?
For your table.
No way.
Yeah, really. So that money is yours to do whatever you like with it. That'll be a really good night in the pub.
Well, I'm amazed. Thank you very much indeed.
So, transforming Andrew's table from a table into a table has cost £400. But Sarah was able to sell the finished item for £750, which leaves Andrew with a profit of 350 quid. If he can keep it from the bar, does he have anything else he would like to spend his money on?
A new bed, probably, for me and my wife, because we've been sleeping on the same one for 25 years and it's pretty worn out. And having just come back from holiday, my wife has got used to sleeping in a proper bed, so it'll go towards that.
So a drink at the pub and a new bed. What better way to spend money for nothing?
So, Sarah managed to make a profit on only 2 of the 3 salvaged items. The dining table restructured by Rupert and the brown velour seat seen to by Sarah. Rob's petrol can lighting has still to find a new home.
Well, that's 3 things saved and only 2 things sold. Sometimes it's not as easy as you think to make money for nothing.